dash. Quilts are flying, colors splash. Pins and patches, stories grow. Stitching secrets we all know. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our lives. Sewing tales with every square. Buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat. Friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our lives. Sewing tales with every square. Buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat. Friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our lives. Our Stitch by stitch they weave the tale. A patchwork life where laughs prevail. Patterns clash, but who can tell? Quilted chaos suits us well. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around.
I got it buttoned up right today. Oh, good. Okay, hello everybody, and we are live and on the air, and it's been a hot moment, hasn't it, since we've done a live. And just let me turn this down because I can see that things are working, which is good. So yes, for those of you that saw So Chatty on Friday, several of you commented that Walter had trouble buttoning up his shirt. So we re-examined to see if that was the case, and we have come to the conclusion, yeah, Walter screwed up. He can't dress himself. But anyways, yeah, well, very observant group though. Really, they caught that. So let's see who's all back. The gang's all back. So we've got Barb. Barb was number one, and Barb's been on here for several hours, or at least had it going on in the background, whatever else she was working on. She wanted to beat out Russ, because Russ is number two. Well, when you're second best, you try harder. You get a red ribbon. Faith is here. Hello, Faith. And Nina is here. And Suzanne. And Mona's here. Now, Mona was on. We had Russ's sewing shenanigans this afternoon. Well, today, actually, starting at 8:30 until 3:30. And Mona was on, but Mona's in her car. She's headed towards a place north of Calgary. And she's been eating her cookies, which were being picked up by her microphone. And they were very crunchy. It was funny. And so she's just about to cross the Utah border. Okay. God, you're really long drive you're going to have. I think Mona said she's going to arrive where's her destination on Tuesday. So yeah, she's got a few miles still ahead of her. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. And Julie is here as well. And Betty and Gloria and Joanne G. Karen is here and Heather is here. Phyllis is here. And Barbara from England, Stevenage. They named it after me. England. Marilyn's here. They say hi to Barb also? Yeah, because she's number one. There she is. Just threw me off with all her little icons. What are those? Dancing women? Arta is here from sunny San Diego. Cynthia is here. She's watching the solo along this morning. Too bad I was in rehab with shoulder replacement, so I got to watch. So yeah, so not only did we have somebody on Russ's sewing shenanigans in their car heading for Canada, but we also had Cynthia, who's recovering from shoulder surgery, and she's in rehab, watching it from there. You see, you can watch whatever you want anywhere these days. Isn't technology wonderful? And let's see, Candace is here. I'll bet you Nightbot's going to put up. No, it shouldn't put up the pop-up sew day. We'll talk about that. AGP. Hello, Steve and Walter. Love your trip and anecdotes. A big hug from
Montevideo.
Montevideo? Oh, okay. Where's Montevideo? And, well, welcome, AGP. I don't know if you've been on here in the chat before or not, but welcome. Mary Jane is here. Linda Dubrovka is here, and I imagine her husband, Al, is in the background somewhere. Colleen's here. Hello, Colleen. And Linda. Like we haven't all buttoned our shirts incorrectly at one time or another, or put our shirts on inside out. Well, if you did that, you were probably doing the walk of shame as well.
Probably that's more like a t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've actually put on one of these shirts on inside out and started to button it up and went, wait, that's not right. That's what you get for dressing in the dark. Johanna is here and Christine is here. So welcome everybody. Candace tells me where it is. So Uruguay. Okay. That's wins the prize for longest distance, I think, today. So welcome. That's nice to have somebody here from there. Okay, so I'm sure a few other people will be joining us as things go on. So, what have I been up to lately? Well, we were away, but I have done a few things. So, I'll give you a sneaky peek at these because I'm going to talk about these things in more detail on Tuesday on the Idiot Quilter. But here you go. So, Christmas tree skirt. I think I showed it before, but I can't remember if I showed you when it was completely finished, but it is. Now, you're going to notice at the bottom there are 2 gift boxes next to each other. Of course, Walter picked up on that immediately. That is not a mistake, believe it or not. And on Tuesday, I will explain why that's not a mistake, but not today. I am not going to explain it today. This is Stormy Sea, the first block. I did that just before we left. I want to see how it would look. And that's all I've got done on that. That's the new quilt that I bought the... excuse me, sneezes. I bought the kit at Ultimate Sewing because Walter thought this would look better on our bed than the quilt that I spent over 2 years and pulling out my hair trying to get done that he doesn't like.
It's nice. It's just not...
You don't like the colors.
Yeah, I don't like the colors.
I don't either. But anyways, so yeah, this will be replacing that whenever I get to it. Now, this is, my sister sent me a picture of the bed in the cottage that she has my quilt and pillow shams on. I think it looks pretty good. But guess what this is leading to now? Here's another shot of it. Oops, get up there. She wants curtains. She did mention something about curtains before, and I did kind of mention I don't do curtains. But I have a feeling we're doing curtains. Well, she has to pick out fabric for this yet. And yeah, that's another chore coming up. So we shall see what we shall see with all of this. But anyway, she seems to be happy with the quilt. And yeah, so that's that. Moving over here. Oh, right. I saw this. This was an impulse buy. It was on sale from Designs by Juju. It is supposed to be a Halloween mini quilt. So it's a big block. It's all done in the hoop. I kind of like it. So I'm making another one. And I'm thinking I might make like that. I think they measure something like, oh geez, about 20 inches or something when you finish the block. So I might make a series of these and make it into a little larger quilt. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It's keeping me from working on Stormy Sea. Not that I don't want to. I just after our trip, I've come home and I kind of have, lost my mojo, my sojo, a little bit. So maybe it's just jet lag. I don't know. And oh yes, and this is a latest experiment. Our dollar store, one of our main dollar stores called Dollarama, they're only in Canada, have started selling these felt tote bags. They're fairly large and they're fairly strong, and they're about $4 a piece. So I thought, can I put it on the embroidery machine and dress it up a little bit? And the answer is, of course, yes, I can. I took the front panel off. It was really easy. Just detach the seams, put it under the hoop, or put it in the hoop on the embroidery machine, and I did this. Now I stuck to something that was simple in design and only 2 colors because I didn't know how well this felt was going to take the stitches, but seems to work out pretty well. I did use some stabilizers, some tearaway on the back of it. So I'm going to get some more of these bags. And I'm going to try some more elaborate kind of design on them. The biggest bitch was putting the bag back together. And not because that's hard to do. It's because the bulk, getting it manipulated underneath the needle on the machine. But more about that on Tuesday. So that's what I've been up to. So what's Walter been up to? Well, you saw so chatty. What was the problem that you discovered when I was wearing my brand new Birmingham shirt?
Yeah. I haven't fixed that yet.
Yeah, there was a hole in the back of my shirt.
Well, actually, it didn't show up until after we were at the quilt show.
Thank goodness.
It showed up afterwards. The seam must have pulled out when Steve was wearing his backpack. So
it's just a little. It's where the yoke is. No yoke. But now Walter has to figure out how to fix
And that
it.
seam didn't catch properly the first time I sewed it. I noticed I had a problem with it. And so I fixed it, I thought. But obviously it pulled out again, so.
Yeah. Well, these things happen. I mean, those of us that are quilters, we have had that kind of problem with seams before. I certainly have. Worst part of those ones, though, are you don't discover it until you've put it on your long arm and you're in the middle of quilting it, and then a seam opens up and you go, oh, frig. And I've had that happen, and I've got some curved needles, and I'll use some invisible thread, and I am not a good hand sewer or mender. So, yeah. Now, there's been a couple of people gave suggestions for what Walter could do. I think both suggestions were, but he doesn't like these, is just to simply do a ladder stitch, which there's lots of videos on how to do a ladder stitch. And, you know, ladder stitch basically will gather it up, and when you pull it, the stitches come together. You can't see the stitches, especially if you used invisible thread. But he doesn't want to do that. So,
I have another idea that I might do.
of course you do. Of course you'd have another idea. You wouldn't want to do anything that anybody would suggest. You want to do your own thing. Yeah, that's the way he is. But anyways, okay, so I was making big jokes about this on Friday on the So Chatty. And, you know, I was saying, you know, haha, Walter made a mistake. You know, because usually he finds my mistakes readily, and I can never find any mistakes in his stuff. So if I get an opportunity, right? But it's all a joke. All right? He knows that. I know that. Most of you would realize that. But we had one viewer who didn't think it was funny and basically tore a strip off me being so because I'm being a nasty asshole to Walter. Well, guess what? That person who said that no longer exists in my world. Delete key. Bye-bye. You know, don't tell me what to do, and I'm sorry if you don't have a sense of humor. So, you know, just a word to the wise for anybody who might be new here. Be careful what you write. I read all the comments, and if I find them inappropriate, bye-bye. And when I say I delete, I don't mean I just delete the comment. I delete the human being. They're gone. They do not exist in my world anymore. They're a little pile of dust. Yeah, I am a bastard. So, and I admit to it and proud of it. Okay, so another thing that has happened. Now, you may or may not have noticed this because I just did it yesterday. You know, my channel has been called Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter. And the reason it was, the history for it was, when I first started my channel, I was not a quilter, I was a paper crafter. And I started it just after I retired for something to do. And it evolved over time, as you know. But I called myself then, because my last name is Bland, I called it Bland Designs. I was being humorous there, too, because, you know, Bland Designs, would you hire someone to decorate your home using the title of their company as Bland Designs? Probably not. Be boring, monotone, no taste, tasteless, all that kind of stuff. Then when I started the Idiot Quilter segments, I decided to add that to the title. I was afraid at the time when I was changing it that it might screw up my statistics and everything else on YouTube, but it didn't. And I haven't really thought much of it until just recently. And I got thinking, you know, if you do a search for the Idiot Quilter, because I usually say to people, and when we were at the quilt show in Birmingham, I handed out some of my business cards to people, and it just says the Idiot Quilter. It doesn't say Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter. So there's a possibility people might get confused if they, you know, did a search for Idiot Quilter but saw Bland Designs first and the Idiot Quilter. They might not think it's the right channel. So I went in and I got rid of that. It's no longer Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter. It's just simply the Idiot Quilter. Everything else stays the same. Oh, and I also changed the little, you know, graphic for the banner. I mean, the one I've used for years was when I first did applique, and we had just come back from Australia, and I had bought an applique of a kangaroo, and I had done it, and I liked it. It turned out pretty good, I thought, at the time, and so I took a picture of it and used that in the banner. But that's kind of a misnomer, because it might suggest to people, if they see this kangaroo, that maybe I've got Aussie roots. Until I opened my mouth, they would notice I did not. But I just left it there all the time and didn't think much of it. So now that's been changed to my actual logo, or as much of it as you can put on YouTube banners in there as well. So same channel, same people, just shortened the name, changed the graphic. So just so nobody's confused by all of that. All right, so a few people have joined us since we've been rattling on here. And when I say we, I mean me. Marjan is here. She says, I caught your snazzy new music today. That must be some AI music fun. It is. And I mentioned that just before we went to the UK, that I had changed that, and I was playing with AI, and that little tune gave it a minimum amount of information, and AI created it. Created both of them, actually. There's 2 songs on there. AI, amazing. Yeah, and I kind of like it. Linda Carlson says, yes, loving that tree skirt. Yeah, the batiks. I like batiks, Linda, so yeah, true. And I will never make another tree skirt. That one took 3 years. Well, I didn't really work on it constantly over 3 years, but you know, it was just one of those things. But it's done. I'm glad. I'm happy. Yeah, Linda, you're right. One thing leads to another. So I don't know if my sister said she would pay for the fabric for the curtains. I don't know if she realizes how much that might cost, because what's the rule for fullness in curtains?
Well, if you're doing, what do you call it?
Pocket
Rod
rocket
pocket.
Rocket rod
It's
pocket.
2 to 2.5 to 3
widths
widths of the window for
one side.
no, not for one side.
Oh, for the whole thing.
For the whole thing all the way across.
But what if it's got a split?
If it's got a split, then it's half the window. It's still 2.5 times, right?
Yeah.
But it's 2.5 times half the window.
Yeah.
So a whole window, it's still the same amount of fabric.
So basic. Okay, whatever. Anyways, fair amount of fabric. So she has to measure her window and everything, and she says, well, maybe she'd come over next week sometime and look at fabrics. Because the fabric she picked one of the fabrics in the quilt, and when you know, she picked the one fabric that I only have like about a half a meter of, if I have even that. So that means once she's decided on the fabric, I'm going to have to do a search for the fabric and get that, and yeah. Why couldn't she just go on Amazon and order something neutral?
Yeah.
I'll go with it, but whatever.
And it's only a cottage.
Yeah, with mice. So I don't know. She was concerned about how long the drape over the edge of the bed. She didn't want it to touch the floor or something because the mice would chew on it. Okay, I wouldn't feel that comfortable sleeping in the same room with a bunch of mice gnawing on my quilt. Whatever. So, let's see. Dana is here. Hi, Dana. Sue's here. Just saw her not too long ago. Yeah, she seems to be, Sue. She seems to be fairly happy with the quilt. Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. Dubrovnik says, hello from Al. He's not in the background. He's in front and center. Oh, okay. Good to know. I guess Al's maybe our #1 fan now, although we've never laid eyes on Al. But, yeah, Sue, you know, why go to all the trouble making a bag when you can get them at the dollar store for $4 and you can embroider them yourself with it? So, hole in the back, hard to mend but doable, Linda says.
Yeah, I know how. I put the shirt together, so I should know how to put it, how to fix it.
And Judy's here. Hi, Judy. But yeah, once you get an embroidery machine, there's so many things you can do with it, and you'll go down a rabbit hole. Just ask people like Sue and a few others on here. Yeah, they are fun. Jean E. Moosley is here, and Judy's here. Just saw Judy too. On Russ's. Alice is here. Joan Reed is here. She says, hello, Stephen Walther. Glad you have a great time in England. Returned home safely. Enjoyed the quilt show. That's great. Joan, I don't spell my name Stepham. It's with a V. V for victory. Okay. The only reason I bring it up is if I ever spelled a woman's name wrong on here, I would be told in no uncertain terms. So, as I just bring it up, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
Well, she just says, oops, sorry.
Oh, already caught it. Okay. All right, you're forgiven, Joan. And higher math going on. Linda says, higher math. What did I miss? I don't know. I'm not sure what that's referencing to. I'm a little slow today. Walter's...
That's the width of the window.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is higher math. Yeah. I just don't... Since I've gotten home, I've just been tired. You know, it's only a 7-hour flight. It's not like we've had major jet lag. Like when you fly to Australia, 22 hours later, yeah. But just been a little lethargic, I guess. And Walter's now, his mind isn't here right now because he can't find his wallet. He put it in a safe place before we left.
Well, actually, it's not my whole wallet. It's just I didn't take the papers with me that I need here, so I left that part of it here. But now I can't find it.
Yeah. He thought he might have thrown it out, but I know he didn't throw it out. I know it is here in the house somewhere. It always is. We've been through this before with many things. Car keys.
I think I would put it in a spot that I could find it.
Well, you would think. You put it in a really safe spot, didn't you? Even you don't know where it is. AGP says, I started sewing after retiring and I marvel at your expertise with the sewing machine. Well, it's just practice. It's just practice. That's all it is. Janice is here and Em is here. Hi, Em. And yeah, curtain math, Linda says, yep. And yeah, jet lag, whatever. Okay, so now that we're back, we can get back into regular routine. So Sewing with Stephen will be starting back up this coming Wednesday. And usual routine, we start in around, time do we start? 9 o'clock? Yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern time and run until about 4 p.m. Eastern time, but you can come and go as you please, and it's nothing formal. It's not recorded for anybody who's new and's never heard of Sewing with Stephen. We always have it every Wednesday. So, yeah, all are welcome. And Pop-Up Sew Day, right on the heels of that. Next Saturday, August the 16th, we're going to have a Pop-Up Sew Day. There will be an email go out to people on the mailing list tomorrow with the Zoom link. But the Zoom link will be in the show notes for the rebroadcast of this today, and it'll be in both my vlog, the Idiot Quilter episode, and So Chatty on Friday. So lots of opportunity to pick up on the link for that. And again, it's come and go as you please. That starts earlier. It starts at 8. And we usually run till 5, except this time. We have something else on that day later. So we're going to stop an hour earlier. So we'll only be going to 4 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday as opposed to 5. I don't think that's going to cause any grief for most people because by about 4 o'clock, I think most of us are getting to the point where we've sewed ourselves out for the day. So yeah. So that's this coming Saturday. All are welcome. So on So Chatty this week, we talked about meeting the gods of the quilting world. We did meet some of the celebrities, and we explained what we mean by celebrities at the quilt show. It was really nice meeting people like Kate from The Last Homely House, Kafe Fassett. We met him. We met and a bunch of other people too. Adam Sews. We had coffee with Adam and sat down for about an hour with him and talked about all things sewing and more or less all things gossipy in the creator end of the world of YouTube. That was so nice to see Adam. And we saw a few other people too in and around. So that's all on the videos. And if you haven't seen those, and there is a link for all the videos that we put up while we were away. We did have problems with internet. over there. So we didn't get a chance to do a live while we were there. I was hoping to do so, but the bandwidth was not cooperative. It was a little bit unreliable. In fact, it took a long time to get some of those videos, even if they were only 15 minutes in length, to get them up to YouTube, like 3 hours. And that was using like a SIM, an eSIM that we had purchased there from, major company. So the infrastructure for the internet over in the UK, by our experience with it, is not what we're used to in North America.
Yeah, I know. And it's not what we were used to when we went to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Either. The Netherlands was great, but I did read that the Netherlands has one of the best infrastructures for technology than anywhere else in Europe. So
Yep, it was kind of disappointing, because I really thought that in the UK it would be comparable to what we have, but apparently not. So we couldn't do a live, but at least I got the videos up, and that was more important to me than the lives. And I think we've had a few people come in. Inez is here, and Lorella's here. Lydia's here. There's Lydia. And let's see. Okay, so update on the window dressings. Walter bought a new tool. What'd you buy, Walter?
I bought a new saw blade.
And why did you buy a new saw blade, Walter?
To cut through aluminum, so
Yeah, we have these blinds
that are a little too short.
that are just, a little too wide, actually.
Yeah, a little too wide.
With them, and by what, a quarter of an inch?
Yeah, about that.
And they were expensive blinds when we bought them, and they fit all our other windows before we got the new windows in. And I don't know if you've priced window dressings lately. Expensive, of course, but even more so, selection sucks. At least it does here in our area. So if Walter can get this to work, this blade he bought for his chop saw, and is able to get them cut down, then that's going to save us a lot of money and a lot of pain in the neck trying to look for new window dressings. And we don't
because
want
the other
curtains.
thing is we like the old window dressings. And
Yeah.
they were quite pricey when we bought them.
Yeah. So, and we've got quite a few windows to dress, like 10. Yeah. So, yeah. So what can you say, right? So hopefully this will solve the problem. We hope. Fingers crossed. Cindy's here. And Linda says, correction, fun going along. Okay. Whatever. Joan says, Sean, the guy...
She says, thanks for the videos. It was
Oh.
going along with you.
Okay, it's hard to when these things scroll up so fast.
Well, you read a previous message then.
Fine. I stand corrected as usual. Joan says, Sean, the guy who sews, is having Adam on his live. I believe it's this coming Saturday, or at least one of his Saturdays this month. Yes, Joan, he is. Sean was planning to do all male August, although he had a female on this week, Tasha. Either that or there's something we don't know about Tasha, but I don't think that's true. But yeah, Adam's on this coming Saturday, and I'm on the Saturday after that. Walter could be on too, except he'll be in bed, probably.
No, Russ, we were on 5G in Britain.
Yeah. He says you couldn't connect to the fastest bands on a non-UK phone.
No, we're on 5G.
We were on 5G. It's just Vodafone over there is...
Vodafone is a British company.
Yeah,
so.
which was ironic.
And our hotel, one of our hotel rooms had a fast line and a slow line, and I could connect onto the fast line, but the fast line still wasn't very fast.
No, and I couldn't connect onto it at all. With it just did not like...
Yeah, and even me, I had a hard time. At one point, it kicked me off, and then I couldn't reconnect. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well. This is some of the things we're about to talk about over there. What we liked about the trip and what we thought could be improved. Let's say it that way. So, um, yeah. So let's start doing a postmortem on the trip. So, what did we like about London and Birmingham, and what did we not like? Well, let's start with London. We have been to London before, several times before. We like London in general. But one thing we kind of forgot is that the last couple of times we've been to London, it has been more off season. We didn't go in the summer. And that's high tourist time. You'd think we would have thought of that. Well, we had to go then because we were going to the Birmingham Festival of Quilts, right? So that's why we went that time of the year. Oh my God.
Oh, it was so busy in London.
So
Oh my God.
busy. You needed a shoehorn to get onto the tube, and we were on the tube a lot, but it was just people everywhere.
Yeah, if you went to any of the major sites, like the Parliament buildings or whatever, it was wall to wall people.
A sea of people with it. So, and it was hot. It was also very hot over there as well, like it is everywhere else in the world too these days.
Well, it wasn't that hot.
Well,
it was like 25 at the most.
But when you're crowded into an elevator with a whole lot
well,
of
if
people,
you're crowded
or
into a tube that isn't air conditioned,
yeah, they don't. Air conditioning in London is at a premium. So
most of the subway cars are not air conditioned. A couple of the lines are air conditioned, but most of them aren't.
yeah,
And it is warm down there.
yeah, very warm and deep. I mean, well, we knew this before, but I swear they've got the steepest escalators.
Yeah, the escalators almost go vertical.
Yeah, and that was on the
which
video.
is almost scary when you're on them. And
Yeah.
they're quite high. So
Yeah, you don't look up when you're going up. Don't look down when you're going down, because if you've ever suffered from vertigo, this will give it to you, for sure. But the one thing I'll say about the underground system in London, you can get everywhere on it. And it's fairly well laid out in terms of like figuring out where you need to go.
and you can tap with your credit card
Yep.
or your
I would use their Apple Watches. Yep.
Apple Pay and stuff like that. So to get on and get off, and it calculates. It has a maximum amount that they charge you each day for multiple trips. So
Yeah, I think it worked out to something like 16 Canadian dollars.
Yeah,
maximum.
if the maximum, but I think that usually worked out if you did 3 trips. That was you already maxed out. So.
Yeah. And we, like I said, we took it everywhere. Now, sometimes you get on to, like, don't get on the tube before 10 a.m. in the morning during a weekday, because that, of course, is when everybody's going to and fro to work. So it's rush hour. And, yeah, you're going to be squeezed in. But the one thing I'll say about the people who, like the regular Londoners, on the tube, they are polite.
Oh, very polite. Like
Very
there was
polite.
one instance where my tap didn't work the first time, and I was getting flustered, and the lady behind me goes, "No, take your time.
Yeah.
It'll work."
And there was one, we were standing up on in one of the cars near the back section of one of the cars, and there was a guy on there, and he looked like he'd eat your mother, kind of a thing. And he accidentally just bumped into a lady behind him because it was that crowded. And he said, "Oh," he says, "I'm so sorry." And she goes, "That's okay. Cheerio." They and everybody was. And there were people, I saw people get up and give their seat to, an older person or whatever. In Toronto, you won't see that often.
I don't know. How do we know? We aren't.
Well, anytime we've been on the subway in Toronto,
When I used to work.
subway in Toronto's scary. And it's got less people. So, and it only goes 2 stops, but so half the time it doesn't work. But anyways, it is the way to go if you're in London, to get around, because like I said, it will take you everywhere, and they have an app so you can figure out, which line you need to be on and to where to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, and actually they have an app. If you say you want to go from this place to another place, it'll tell you where you have to route, but it's pretty easy to follow.
Yeah.
There's like about 20 or 20 lines that all crisscross, and it's pretty easy to figure out where to get off.
Cindy says scariest part of the tube is the steep escalators.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Some of those tunnels are really, really deep down. In fact, in some spots, there's tube tracks above you and tube tracks below you, because they all intersect and they're on different levels and the whole thing. So yeah, but it's the best way to travel around London.
Yeah. You can get pretty much anywhere you want. So
yeah, and I don't know if they have a problem with pickpockets or what. Well, in certain stations, mostly the train stations.
Yeah, they
They warned you. Yeah, and they clearly tell you what station's coming up next and everything you need to know, and you can understand them. It's not Charlie Brown's teacher going, get off, kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of the more moderns, like the trains and that, will have the announcements on the ceiling or something like that shows where the next station is, like on the Elizabeth line.
Yeah. So, and when we flew into Heathrow, we took the tube from Heathrow right to where we were staying. That's called the Elizabeth line. I think that's the newest one.
We took the Elizabeth line, and then we had to transfer at another junction called the Northern line, and had to take it 2 stops to get to where we were staying.
So it was really easy to get from the airport.
It's easy to get to the airport. They have 2 different tube lines that go to the airport. They have the Elizabeth line and they have the Piccadilly line, and you can take either one. The Piccadilly line's a little slower because it has more stops. The Elizabeth line's the newest one, and it's air conditioned.
Yes,
and it's
much more comfortable seating.
And it's has fewer stops, and they also have a express train that goes from Heathrow to Paddington Station, but it's more money.
Yeah.
So not too many people take that unless maybe they're taking a train somewhere.
Yeah. Now, the one problem you could have though is depends on how much luggage you've got.
Yeah.
We had our backpacks, so it's no problem for us. But if you're one of those kind of people that takes 12 different suitcases, you might rather take the train.
Take the express train.
With it, because it could be, depending on the time of day when you get on it as well, it could be a bit crowded and inconvenient, to say the least. But for the most part, no complaints about taking the tube anywhere. So what else did we like about London? Well, of course, there's lots of things to see and do.
We've been there before,
Yeah.
and so we didn't have to go to see all the major sites because we've been to all of them. But actually, going that time of the year, going in the middle of the summer, is not a good time to go to London because, one, it's hot, and the other thing is there's so many tourists there because all the kids are out of school.
Yep.
And that's when they're all traveling. There's so many tourists there that it's hard to get into places.
Yeah. And some of the places that we went to are free, but you had to book a spot.
Yeah, like there was one day we were going to go to the British Museum. We've been there before on previous trips, but just for something to do. And I had to book a ticket online to get entrance for that day. And when we got there, there was a huge lineup trying to get in, and these are ones that already had the ticket.
Yeah.
And we had a time booked, and it was just overwhelming how many sea of people there that we decided not to go in because it was too busy.
Yeah. But like Quilter said, we have been to the British Museum several times before, so it was just something we thought, well, we're there, maybe we'll do it. Now, Inez, who's on here, of course, she asked us if we were doing Buckingham Palace. Well, just for Inez, we made a point of going out, and you saw it on the video, showing you the outside Buckingham Palace. So we've been there before, and we have been in Buckingham
We've had
Palace.
a tour through Buckingham Palace
At another time when they opened it up to the public, and well, they do in the summer, but that's another one you have to book well ahead, and there is a charge for that. And you don't really see that much.
Yeah, you see a couple of the rooms.
You see the public
and,
rooms,
yeah.
basically, you know. So, you know, it's not like you're going to see the king around a corner and Camilla, you know, greeting you at the door, or, you know, inviting you in for tea. That doesn't happen, apparently. So, as much as I yell through the gates, you know, Charlie, Charlie, Cammy, come, let's do tea. They don't.
Now, there was a couple of other things that I booked that were free. There was a couple of observation decks that we could go to that were free. And one was called the Lookout, and that was the first one we went up. And it's pretty stark up there. It's just a floor looking out over the city. And you couldn't get a full 360 view. It was just one-sided that or you could see.
And it wasn't that tall. It was only
it was 50 stories.
Was that one 50?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we went up later towards the end of our visit to London. I got tickets to, and these are hard to get. They're free too, like they're 100% free. But to a place called Sky Garden, and it is it's like on the top of a building, which is only about 35 stories tall. But in London, that's big enough to see around. And it's a huge double-story, three-story garden up on the top of this
It's
building.
kind of nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah. We had a beer
to go
up
see,
there.
so it was really worthwhile. I mean, the other alternative, if you want to go up to Sky Garden, is they have several restaurants there, and you can book into one of the restaurants and go up there as well.
Yeah.
But they're pretty pricey, the restaurants.
Yeah, well, everything's a little pricey in
And
London.
so we decided we just went there. Actually, we ended up having a beer up there, and it was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was nice to sit there and look out at the place, and that's, if you probably saw the video, there was some dame, she doesn't deserve to be called a lady, got right up next to the windows. It says very clearly, do not stand on this. And she decided to ignore that and get glamour shots, and she was there for a while, so you would have seen it on the video, because I make no bones about it. She was a yahoo.
I'm surprised that there wasn't any.
Nobody told her to get down.
Tell her to get off.
I mean, even the kids. You would expect a little kid to just climb up there and whatnot, because, you know, kids are like that. No. Just this one woman who's throwing her hair back, and quite frankly, she needed some surgery. I mean, she was nothing to look at, so what the hell's this all about?
Yeah, people really think.
She wasn't young either.
No.
It wasn't like we're talking here like someone in their
who
early
knows?
20s.
People seem to like to do glamour shots all over the place. So.
That annoys me. You're not all that in a bag of chips, so go away. But anyways, yeah, what else did we like about London?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping the window would give.
Yeah, I know. That would have been, catch that on video. That would go viral. What else did we like about London? Well, we did do Harrods. I mean, Harrods is a place you go in and you look, but you don't buy anything.
I mean, it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
It's no longer, it used to be like a big department store. And now what they've done is basically the main section of it is all subdivided into luxury stores like Tiffany's and Cartier, and it's all you walk through and it's all little sections off. It's not really that much of a department store. There is actually parts of it that are still Harrods, but it's not as much as it used to be.
No, it's not.
It's a smaller footprint, and they do have a big food hall there. There's a big restaurant food hall that you can go there, and it's really pricey to eat in there.
Oh yeah,
and then they have another food hall that sells pre-prepared foods and things like that.
Like if you want beef Wellington to take home,
yeah,
you know, they have it there. It's going to cost you.
yeah, it's expensive, but it's not horrible. But
And
anyway,
chocolates and
lots of
wines
chocolate,
and things
wines
and
and
champagnes.
champagnes.
That was in the video, the price of that. But they did have, and I saw this just before we left here. Somebody did a YouTube video showing that Harrods Christmas store was now open. They opened it in July. And that is kind of interesting to see. Whole lot of little trinkets for your tree that, you know, 30 pounds here, which is, you know, $50, $60 Canadian, that kind of stuff. A whole lot of that kind of stuff. You know, you go, you look, but you're probably not going to buy a whole lot, not the average person. I did have a notion that Harrods, their shopping bag they put your purchases in is this green. It's Harrod green, okay? It's and gold lettering on it, kind of chic, you know, very posh. And they do have a Christmas decoration with the Harrods bag. And I had thought about getting one, but I changed my mind. They weren't that bad. They were like 15 pounds for one of those. So that's, you know, just under $30 Canadian. But it wouldn't go with the decor of my tree. So why do I want to spend 15 pounds on that? I could spend 15 pounds on beer. So, what were you going to say?
No, nothing. And that food hall that's sort of like a restaurant. It's not like what do you call it? It's not like the mall type food hall.
No.
It's all these little restaurant pods. We didn't actually go in there, but I did see a video prior to leaving, and some lady on the video said that she was getting fish and chips at a famous fish and chip place, and it was 47 pounds.
Yeah, 47 pounds. So basically, when we talk about pounds, double it for Canadian. It'll be less for Americans. But
47 pounds for fish and chips, and it was one piece of fish and 5 or 6
chips,
stacked
French
fries, big thick ones
in a little cup.
Yeah,
Standing up.
and actually it wasn't in a little cup. It was like Jenga stacked.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just posh, really. You'd have to go to McDonald's after that because it wouldn't be enough to eat. Yeah, so we didn't partake of that. We did go to Selfridges as well. Now, Selfridges is a department store too that's been there for over 100 years. It's gone under different ownership. At one point in time, it was owned by the Weston family, which is pretty much the richest family in Canada. They own major grocery store and drugstore chains here in Canada. But I think they sold it to somebody else a few years ago.
We went in it a few years ago
Yeah.
when we were in London, and it was like a big major department store in that. But now they've done the sort of the same thing as Harrods. Is a lot of the sections are sectioned off into little luxury stores like Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's and stuff like that.
I got told to stop videoing when we were in one of the sections that had like
the luxury stores,
the luxury watches and things like that. Security guard came up to me, and he's wired for sound, right? And he says, "Sir, please turn off your video." Okay. He was also 3 times my size, so wasn't going to argue with him about that. So yeah, I mean, probably they don't want you to take video because, one, you might get some people on the video that don't want to be on video who have, you know, like, we're not talking your average human being. We're talking about your very, very rich in there. And also maybe, too,
for security.
Security, you know, case in the joint because I was going to break into it later that day. Yep, and steal everything. Yeah, because that's the way I operate. I'm quite a criminal with that. But anyways, so those are interesting to go and see. And then there's markets all over the place. So different ones, like we went to Covent Gardens, which is famous. Again, it's a lot of restaurants, cafe kind of thing, and, you know, gitchy stores, what I call gitchy stores. You know, they have a lot of cute things in them that are dust collectors.
And a lot of souvenir clothing and things
Yeah,
like that. So
now, we did go to the Camden Market. Camden is an area of London. It was at one time where the hippies used to hang out. It's not now. It's all been gentrified, and in fact, the regular Londoners stay away from it. So we have been told or read about it, and I could see why. Because, well, in the summertime especially, it is a zoo.
It was like super busy.
Yep. I mean, we were looking for a place to have a drink, and nope, no room in the inn for that. And it's kind of a, because there's so many people there, it's not very comfortable.
And it's a lot of tourist shops selling
Yeah.
souvenirs and stuff.
And
like
garbage.
that.
It's
And
garbage.
Yeah.
With that, we had been there before.
But it wasn't like that
like
before.
this.
It was more crafty type items that were being sold and,
Yeah.
and things like that.
But now it's more retail again. Everything ends up getting gentrified, and that just kills the flavor for some of these places. What else were in London did we like? It's just nice to walk. When the weather is nice, even though it was hot, it's just nice to walk around London. Now,
They have a lot of nice parks and
Yeah.
things like that.
yeah, they've got
It's,
a lot of nice parks. Right in the central part of the city and around. It's a very walkable city, too. So, although they have a lot of bicycles, I don't remember there being as many bicycles the last time we were there, which is, 11 years ago?
Yeah, and they're having a big problem with, actually it was on their news, that cars obey the stoplights, but the bicycles don't.
No.
And so there's some problems with that.
Yeah. I thought the bicycles were bad in the Netherlands, and they are, because, they come out of nowhere and they don't stop. They'll just run right over you. And so if you get back to your hotel without a tire mark up your back,
But mind you,
you're
they
lucky.
have dedicated bike lanes
Yes.
there. And,
Well, they did sort of in London too, but
Yeah.
not everywhere. The infrastructure for that kind of thing is much better in the Netherlands, because everybody and their dog rides a bike in the Netherlands. But in England, no, or in London, no. So someone was asking about the Indian food. Yes, we had it a couple of times while we were there. One thing I'll say is you don't go. Well, I would say, and this is maybe a gross exaggeration, but I don't think anybody really goes to England for the food, because it's not good. Everybody talks about pub food. No, it's not that good.
oh, Adam's here. The
Oh,
bikes are
Adam's here.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They just cycle straight in front of moving traffic.
Yeah, and electric scooters. Yeah, oh yeah, those were for sure. But the food, no.
I think we ended up picking a few places.
We
that
probably
were-
didn't go to the right spots.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to do that when we're on a trip. But we did have. Now we were staying out in an area called the station is Euston, and it's out near the major train stations. That was the end of town we were in, and there was about a bunch of Indian restaurants there. So we did go to one for lunch,
It wasn't bad.
and it wasn't bad, with that. But we did go in London,
It's a chain place.
a chain place, but we've eaten there before, and
Many years ago.
yeah, and it's good.
Yeah.
We like it. It's not cheap, but nothing is, okay? Like, even going and eating in a pub, that was costing us, like, lunches for, we'd have a beer, maybe two, and what, like, I'm trying to think what we ate.
Well, it was usually entrees were usually about 16 or 17 pounds.
Yeah, so, $30 Canadian.
And
So most lunches cost us around $100, 80 to $100 Canadian.
Which is expensive
Yeah, it
for
is
us.
expensive. Yeah, we don't usually spend that much
For
here
lunch.
for lunch. Like just at an ordinary little place. I'm not talking about a real fancy place for that. But I can't say. Yeah, that one Indian place that we went to that we liked, that was good. Now, surprise, surprise. Walter had heard about this fish and chip place that was supposed to be really good. It's a bit of a hole in the wall. It's underneath
It's
a
near.
highway.
No,
not a
it's
highway.
near a train station.
Oh, that's
station,
right.
yeah.
The Waterloo train station. It's called
Fish Go Tech.
Fishkotech. Yeah. And it's nothing to write home about when you go inside. But I don't like fish, right? I like fish and chips on occasion, but I'm a real stickler. It has to be halibut. And I know what you're going to say. Well, that doesn't taste like fish. You're right. That's why I like it. It's very mild. They don't sell halibut. They sell cod. But I thought Walter won't want to go there, and I thought, okay, I will try this. I will try it. Actually, it was okay. The cod was very mild, and yeah, and it was real chips.
It wasn't.
It wasn't frozen ones, and yeah, actually, it wasn't bad. The only disappointment was they weren't licensed. So I'm looking at their menu, and say, "Ooh, you have milkshakes," and that's one of my favorite food groups, milkshakes. So I ordered a milkshake. No, we don't have those. It's on your menu. Yeah, we don't have them. Okay, fine. I'll have a Coke Zero. And I don't like pop particularly. I know I'm a picky bitch. But anyways, but the fish the fish and chips were good. They really were. And price-wise, well, I forget what that cost. It wasn't cheap. But it wasn't bad.
What?
The fish and chips, how much?
It was £20.
Was it 20 pounds? Oh, that's right, it was. So, yeah, $40 for a piece of fish and some chips. Okay. So, but they claim that it's fresh. They get it every day.
Yeah, it wasn't fishy at all, so it was good.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that was okay meal.
Yeah, well, London is expensive. However, going to the food out in Birmingham, mind you, we were in a resort area.
Let's switch to Birmingham. So, Birmingham, we had to take the train to get there. And taking the train, we actually bought, what class of tickets do we have? Second class or premium economy? What was that?
No, it was, they had economy seats and they had first class seats, and then they have a class in between called priority or something like this.
Yeah.
And we were in the priority, so.
Yeah, the only difference between it and first class was basically I think they served you a meal, but it's not a long trip.
Yeah, it was only an hour, so.
An hour, so we didn't bother with that because there was a considerable difference in the
Yeah,
price.
it was quite a bit of difference.
But the train.
Well, actually, and then if you get the expensive class, like the first class one, they have first class lounge, so you can sit in that
and drink or whatever. But anyways, yeah. But the train ride was fine, no problems. It came on time. We were a little worried about that because we'd heard stuff that said that most of the trains will be on time 40% of the time. So, or they have disputes going on, labor things but no, it was fine both ways. And we got to Birmingham, and the train goes right into where the quilt show was located at the convention center.
In fact, the train station's attached to the convention center.
So, and it's a huge convention center, and I think you got a sense of that from the videos as well. And the hotel we stayed in was right there, like to the convention center. We did not have to walk far to get into the convention center.
Yeah.
You got to walk miles when you're in the convention center to get to where the quilt show was. It's so far that it was like an airport. They had people movers that weren't operating all the time, which is just like the airport in Toronto. Yeah. You're just supposed to look at them in Toronto. You're not supposed to actually use them. Mm-hmm. But so that was convenient. Yeah. And it seems where all the celebs were staying.
Actually, the hotel I picked where all the celebrities were staying.
So that was nice. And it was a kind of a funky little place. They call it the Moxie. And the decor and things like that was very eclectic. And
it's a modernistic version. It's a Marriott chain.
Yeah.
It's owned by Marriott. It was sort of how would you call it?
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to an alt hotel. There's one on the Toronto airport. It's kind of minimalist
Yeah.
to a point, but this was a little bit more than minimalist.
Yeah, it was kind of funky.
It's kind of retro in some ways, the way they've decorated it.
Like you don't have a closet, you just have a pole hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, to hang your stuff on.
But I mean, it had a decent bed, and it
Yeah.
had a nice TV, and it was the bathroom was pretty good.
Yeah.
And they actually, what was interesting there is they have a bar area, and the bar area and the dining room are all sort of one room.
Yeah.
And you can.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Adam
yeah.
says the Moxie feels like your Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
And they have, and you can order from the menu. Actually, their food's not bad. So
Yeah, actually, their food was pretty good. Actually, we had Indian there one night, and the Indian was good
yeah,
as well. Can you tell we like Indian?
and they also had one afternoon we ordered a pizza to split.
Yeah.
And it was
It was
a
good.
decent sized pizza.
Yeah,
so.
it was good. So that was very convenient, and of course, you saw the video. Kate was staying there. Kafe was staying there. Scrap Fabric Love was staying there. All the posh people, all the celebrities were there. We were there, and that kind of thing. So it was a good pick. You did well.
Well, actually, the only reason I picked it is it's right next to the convention center. So
Yep.
it was like you just walked across the road to get to the convention center. So I thought, okay, that sounds like a good place.
But this whole area where the convention center is, there's other hotels as well, a little further away, and then there's something called Resort. What was it?
Resort World.
Resort World, and it had sort of a small shopping mall in it, a Cineplex,
And a bunch of chain restaurants.
and a bunch of chain restaurants. We ate twice. We ate in the Mexican restaurant. We had lunch there and we had dinner
Well, it
there.
was sort of Mexican and not Mexican because they
Yeah.
also had curry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then we ate in an Italian restaurant that was there too. And actually, that
Yeah.
was a good meal.
Yeah, one was called, I can't remember what the Mexican one was called. And the
La
It's
La
a good-
Guanas,
the iguanas or something.
Les Guanas, like Les Lizard. I don't know.
And then the other one was ZZ or whatever.
Yeah,
Italian-
ZZ or
yeah.
something. Yeah, they were both okay.
Yeah.
So that was all right, and yeah, that whole little area. Well, we did think, of course, we met up with Adam there. Adam's here, and we had coffee with Adam, and that was very, very nice. And then we said to Adam, well, we're thinking of taking the train, because we're not actually in Birmingham. We're kind of on the outskirts of it. So we thought, well, one afternoon while we're there.
Adam says Las
That's it.
Iguanas,
Yeah, Las Iguanas. I knew it had a lizard in it somewhere. But we said we take the train into Birmingham. He says, why? He said they don't recommend it. And he wasn't the only one that told us
Yeah,
that.
I know. We mentioned it to somebody else, and then they said, "Oh, did you actually go into Birmingham?" And we said, "No, we decided against that."
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, good choice."
Yeah, it's a good choice on that one. And so we didn't get actually into Birmingham, but I don't feel like we missed much by not doing it. In fact,
But we were a little bored there, so we ended up. They have a cinema attached
Yeah.
to it, so we ended up going to two.
yeah,
two
we went to
cinemas.
2 shows in 2 nights. We saw Superman and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, in there too. An interesting thing, maybe I don't know if this is common in the UK, but at least at this cinema, when you arrive usually at a movie theater, you may not be able to get, if you're a little early, you just can't walk in, but usually you can get in, fairly close to when you first get there, and you might sit for half an hour, but you can get it. Not there. They had a little chart. And I don't know if our name was on it or what, but they said, yeah, no. No, just sit over there and wait. And we'll tell you when you can go in. So we did. But, yeah, the shows are not cheap. The shows aren't cheap here
Well,
either.
the shows were about the same price as they
I guess
are
when you
here,
work
so.
it out, yeah. Which is, well, we haven't been to the show in quite some time. So, yeah. Sound like in my day, sound like a couple of old men. I remember we used to get into a matinee for a quarter and you still had a dime left over to buy yourself a bag of chips and a Coke. But not anymore. That's for sure. But yeah, but the whole quilt show was great. As you've already heard us talk about that extensively, don't need to go into that anymore. It was nice meeting up with Adam and the other people we saw there too and everything. So we had a good time. I highly recommend it. If you know, put it on your bucket list, as I heard somebody say earlier today, to go to it, because it is well worth the trip. But make it into a holiday. Do London too, or whatever. But Adam says that's probably because the previous screening had a ton of people that made a lot of mess and need to panic clean the seating. Yeah, that could be. Although we went to sort of in the middle of the afternoon and I didn't see anybody come out.
No.
They went in, but they didn't come out.
And it was even when we were there, it was a sparse amount of people.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, but it was good. What else did we like about Birmingham? Or well, there. I just like the way the whole layout was, as we said before. I mean, it's huge. And according to Adam, he said that this year's was about 60% the size of previous years or whatever. So if that's 60%, holy crap. I can't imagine what it would have been like at 100%. 3 huge halls that this was in, and things were nicely spaced out and organized. You didn't feel like you were tripping over people, not like the Canadian quilt show where you were like this all the time trying to move through the crowd. And yes, I didn't buy anything. There wasn't anything there I saw that I really want to, 1, spend the money on, and 2, lug home, that I couldn't get here in North America. So yeah, save some money there. Oh, and speaking of which, okay, Liberty of London, you heard us say it on the thing on Friday that we did on So Chatty. Yes, if you're in London, you've never been to Liberty of London, you need to go. So you'll know what you're not missing out on. Okay, I'm sorry, it is sacrilege, I am sure, to some people. But 1, I don't like their fabric. It's not the quality of fabric I don't like, but it's like, what's that called? Tana lawn?
Yeah, Tana lawn.
Make wonderful shirts and stuff like that, but it's the patterns. It is.
Yeah, it was patterns.
It's old lady.
Yeah.
It's old lady. Okay. If you're into Lori Holtz or something like that, you'll love it. But their only quilting cotton they had was in sort of a little room off of the main part of where all this other fabric was, and it was garbage.
It almost looked like they were clearing it.
It looked like they were getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And they had a few. Some people said, well, you at least could buy a fat quarter bundle. No. Because the fat quarter bundles were expensive and they were old lady. What were in them. And they had, and I didn't understand this, they had these single pieces of fabric. I'm still not sure how big they were. I don't know if they were a fat quarter or what. They didn't even look like they were as big as a fat quarter. And they were in a nice celluloid packaging. So you couldn't even you couldn't feel it or anything. And they were, I forget what they were. They were not cheap for this. And I was thinking, why would you want one of those? Maybe souvenir? I went to Liberty London and I got this stupid square fabric. I don't know, kind of a thing. But we looked in the men's, because Liberty of London is not just fabric. They have home decor. They have women's fashion. They have men's fashion. They have perfume. They have candles. So it's a department store.
Shoes.
They have shoes. So it's a department store. So we went into menswear and we looked at the shirts. Ew. $175 for a short sleeve shirt like this, and the fabric in it.
It wasn't the same. Wasn't the Tana lawn? It was a lower quality of fabric. It had a fairly open weave for the cotton, and it was like a Liberty type print, which was a small flower or something like that. and they were charging 175 pounds for one shirt.
Yeah. So there was a guy working in there, and he came over, and he saw us looking at the shirt. So salesperson, can I help you, and all that kind of stuff. Says, no, we're just looking, kind of thing. And we got talking, and it turned out that he had lived in Canada for a while. He wasn't Canadian, but he had gone to fashion school out at university in BC, and also for a time at Ryerson in downtown Toronto, fashion arts. And I don't know what he did in between that, but he came back to the UK and he was working there. So I said to him, to be quite honest, I said, I wouldn't pay 175 pounds, which is, almost like $300 for one of these shirts. He says, neither would I. But he said, and I said, and I'm really disappointed in the fabric selection. He goes, yeah, but he says, you know who buys it? He says, the Middle Eastern ladies, like from Saudi Arabia and the
United Arab
Emirates and that, and they buy
bolts.
bolts and bolts and bolts. He says to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars of this, and then they take it back to wherever they live. And these are ladies that are all dressed in the burqas, kind of a thing. They take it back and they have outfits made out of it. And he said, underneath those burqas, he says they're wearing gold lame. And I said, so are there drawstrings on them when the husband comes home and he just, let's see what's behind curtain number 1 today? I don't know, but he says, yeah. He says underneath those burqas, he says, are these fantastic clothes. And they just take bolts and bolts and bolts out. Well, they have people that pick them up for them, But that, he says, they make a lot of money from them with it. You saw a lot of people in there looking at things. You could tell they were tourists because they're looking for something, some little souvenir. So they had like little trays that had a design of some of the fabric on it. And then I saw this one lady, she picked it up and you could see, oh, it's a little tray. It won't be that much. She turned it over. Put it back. Not worth it. And it was just plastic. So, yeah. So we did not buy anything in there. And I was really disappointed. Kind of a thing. But such is life. And Adam says he didn't either. He didn't spend 20 pounds. He spent 20 pounds on one piece of quilt backing at the quilt show, I guess. Yeah, prices, no.
Adam was wearing a really cool
shirt
that he made for himself from
Tula Pink.
Tula Pink's newer line that I don't think has come out yet, which is the gray colors.
Yeah, I forget. He'll probably tell us what it is, but really cool shirt. You got to show that.
That's
on your
because
channel.
it was pieced.
Yeah,
he had pieced it, and
there's
like
a line
different color, different sleeves and stuff like that.
I love that shirt.
And it looked really neat.
Yeah. Linda says Lori Holtz looks like 30s to me. Yeah, it does to me too. Now what's this? My home on the hillside. Hello, my home on the hillside, Caroline. She says, did they have the patterns that Grace and Perry made for their anniversary?
I have no idea.
Okay, we saw the display they had for their anniversary. It was just a big, sort of looked like a house made out of patchwork squares. I mean, interesting patches. I mean, obviously made by a variety of people and doing that. But that was all there was really in the display, and like a couple of signs talking about the history of Liberty. And I didn't see anything, but until you just mentioned that now.
Adam still says it's great work. It'll be in this week's vlog. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, wear the shirt, Adam. I'm sure you will for it, because people will be absolutely dumbfounded by it. It is really a nice shirt. So no, to answer your question, Caroline, we did not see this. It may have been there. We just, until you mentioned this, I have never heard that name, Grace and Perry. So, Barbara says scraps. Yeah, Barbara, that's probably what they were. They weren't as big as a fat quarter, but what would you do with them? Because they weren't cheap to buy them. So I'm not sure.
their end cuts they're getting rid of.
Yeah, probably. Carol says the Tanalon prints remind me of little girls' dresses.
Yeah, they would work for
Yeah.
little.
Like, okay, for a lady, if you wanted to make a dress or something, or, you know, a blouse or whatever, yeah, I'm sure there was stuff there to pick for. But as a man, no.
For me, I didn't really care for, but even in the menswear shop, they had the shirts they had were patterns like that. Small flowers and stuff like that.
Adam says, Liberty stores, as I may have said when we were chatting, they market the prints to those people that buy huge amounts. It annoys me because they have such stunning, abstract, and colorful prints. What store were you in? No.
Well, they must be. There must be a line that they don't have in the store.
Yeah, because
they did have an abstract one that I kind of liked, but it was in the wrong colorway. Then I liked. There was one they had it in pink, and I saw it in blue, and they didn't have it there in stock.
Yeah, well, Adam says they just don't stock them in the store. Yeah, so yeah, that would make sense. And Carolyn says, thanks for the reply. I wondered if it had been promoted especially. Evidently not. It isn't quite my taste. Yeah, well, like I said, but, you know, we weren't looking for it, so if we weren't looking or knew about it, then, yeah, it escaped our attention. It may have been there. We just didn't know.
Says, were the vendors in the quilt show all from the UK? No. I think there were other ones. Most of them I think were from the UK, but there was someone where I don't know if they were not from the UK, but somebody was selling French linen, but I don't know if that was going to be a UK distributor. I don't know.
I don't know, French linen and poo-poo.
I would assume that most of the vendors were from the UK.
Yeah. Carolyn says, I was in Liberty in March this year and did notice how small the fabric selection was compared to my expectations. Yeah. That's why I said that's why it was a letdown. Like if you're in London and you've never been there before,
it's a neat store.
It's a neat store. Yeah.
Only don't worry, you might want to take the stairs instead of the elevator because
slowest elevator ever. Holy crap! I think they have a gerbil on a cage, the round thing, pulling it up and down because oh my god.
It's an old building.
Yeah.
So, and it's got a lot of ornate wood inside and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see it. That's for sure. Adam says, as far as I'm aware, the fabric in Liberty used to be on floors 3 and 4 and has been reduced to floor 3 only. Yeah, there was only one floor.
It is on floor 3.
Yeah. And the whole floor was not dedicated to fabric either. No. There was other stuff there too.
Yeah, there was children's wear, and then there was some pottery and
yeah, there was some like home goods kind of a thing in there too. And yeah, I was disappointed, but anyways, it saved me a lot of money because at 29 pounds 99 pence for a meter.
So that's getting close to $60 Canadian for a meter.
So yeah, but anyways, that was it. So things were expensive on this trip. I mean, you just got to the point where we just sort of
food was kind of expensive for us. Other than that, it wasn't really. The hotels were pretty much the same as what we paid at other places. And the like taking the tube or whatever wasn't really, I wouldn't really consider that expensive.
Yeah.
And so transportation wasn't really that. It was just mainly the food was a little bit more than what we're used to. But you know, you're on a holiday, so you're only there for 10 days or 9 days or whatever, so you just put up with it.
And you just get to the point where when you see something and it says it's 15 pounds, you just say in your head $15. That's how you survive. It's not, but it's, you just, that's $15. Yeah. I did buy shoes when I was there. Yeah. I had taken my Skechers on the slip-in type ones, right? And we did a lot of walking, and I'm having some problems with my shoulder blade. I don't know why for the last month or so. But anyways, I thought it was being aggravated by that because my shoes, I was walking funny in my shoes. They don't have support in them. Yeah, I was laughing all the way down the street. So when we were in Birmingham, in that place, the Resort
World.
That's it, Resort World. Why do I have trouble when I blank out on that? They had a Skechers store in there, and I went in, and the lady that waited on me was very, very nice and seemed very knowledgeable. I said, I have these Skechers, I was wearing them, and I said, they're not giving me the support. She says, you like arch support on your ankle? And I says, yeah, exactly. She says, that's a common complaint with those shoes. And I said, well, I want something that's going to give me the support. And she directed me to a pair, and I liked them, and I bought them, and I'm very happy with them. And actually, price-wise on them, because I mean, Skechers here are not particularly cheap.
No.
They're about the same as what I would have paid here. So yeah, so that was okay.
You need to stop slapping your thighs, Steven. Then your shoulder won't work.
Oh, yeah, right. With it, I had to get a little ointment in the boots when we were there, and for Walter to apply to my back. Stickiest stuff I've ever used in my life, but whatever. Did it help? No. Yeah, we didn't buy that much of anything else when we were there. I mean, shoes were my biggest purchase.
I bought one small package of Tonalon at the quilt show.
Oh,
it was 2.5.
Yeah.
No, it was 2.14 meters.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just black and white fabric. But
yeah.
I didn't really see anything else there that interested me.
No. But it was a good trip. Do I think it was as good as when we went to the Netherlands? I don't. I had a better time in the Netherlands. And why would that be? Well, I think it was because we went off season to the Netherlands. It was just the beginning, kind of the tourist season.
It wasn't as busy.
It wasn't as busy. That's the only thing. It was
too busy in London.
Too busy. Yeah.
I mean, the only other times we've been in London, we've always been off season a little bit. We've never really, only with the exception, only the first time we ever went to London. It was in the middle of the summer, but any other time we've been to London, we've always been like in the fall.
Yeah.
September, mid to late September, and it's been more reasonable in crowds.
Yeah. So yeah. So
but it may be just post-pandemic craziness these days.
So, what's our next trip? Don't know, but Walter's already thinking maybe Japan next year. I don't know. But no plans for any kind of major trips coming up in the next few months to the end of the year. Kind of a thing. And yeah, got to get back into the routine of things here. So, I think that's all we need to say. Anything else you want to say about our trip?
No, I think maybe it's the thing is we've been in London lots of times before. The interesting part of the trip was going up to Birmingham.
Yeah,
and
we really enjoyed that.
And but since we'd been in London many times before, it wasn't really that new to us. And where we were in the Netherlands, we were traveling around to new places. And, and the food was better.
Yeah. Adam says, don't be alarmed when you are stitching it, Walter. If the needle sounds blunt, it's the right weave. Sounds odd just so
Tight
compared
weave.
to other cottons.
I would expect it stitches differently.
Yeah. So anyways, yep. Trip's over. We are back home. Yeah. So, before we go, just reminders. Back on track for Sewing with Steven on Wednesdays as usual, and next Saturday, pop-up sew day with that as well. And long term, I am starting to work out for myself my plan for the fall retreat. Don't have any details about that yet. I have to figure out a date. It'll probably be sometime in October, because I have to get it in before American Thanksgiving and that, because once that happens, everybody's mind is on Christmas and our Thanksgiving. It'll probably be after our Thanksgiving in Canada, which falls early in October. But more details will come out about that probably at about the 1st of September. God, that's coming up actually pretty fast. I guess I better get myself into gear for all of this. And yeah, so
Okay, Adam, thanks for the information about the Microtex needle.
Okay.
I have some of those.
yeah, okay, that's good. Are you drawing for 3D Box Day? No, it's not. It's not the first Sunday in the month. Okay, Barb, that's the only reason you showed up today, because you thought you might get in on a draw. Okay, I know where your loyalties lie. Nope. We will be drawing on the first Sunday in September.
So we missed August.
Yes, we did miss August. Well, we spent a lot of money in London. You know, sending this stuff out isn't cheap. Whatever. Plus, I have to make more things. So, anyways, yeah. So sorry, disappointment. Glad you love us for the gifts. I'm not hurt. Not really. I might be a little bit, but no, I'm not hurt. And yeah. So everybody, enjoy the rest of today, and see some of you maybe during the sew days next week and whatnot. And have a great week and stay cool, because wherever you are, it's probably hot too. It's hot here as well. It's hot everywhere. We're burning up. Okay. All right, everybody. See y'all later. Bye.